Do you trust me with your life?
Not after 3 glasses of whiskey. There's a couple randomly weird words with like Cara oranges.
Cara oranges?
Mm-hmm.
That should be your stage name.
Like stripper?
Yeah.
Cara oranges.
And
y'all about to see some
oranges. I was gonna say
like,
something dirty, but I don't even know what it means. It just sounds wrong. I was gonna say you make some orange juice.
I don't want to know what that entails.
I know. Neither do I.
Like, would you drink the orange juice and then
I mean, I wouldn't.
pee it out, like, on stage or something?
That's only what Cara orange juice does. I mean, people
now
are
the
into
stage
weird
name is
things.
changed to Cara orange juice.
I didn't even realize I said
that would be like the title of the act, so people would expect something with orange juice.
Yeah.
But I would horrify them at the end by, I don't know, I feel like some people are into that though.
I'm positive some people are into that.
Okay, anyway. Moving on.
Moving on.
Where the internet gets weird.
We talk about a lot of fuckers in... Whew.
No Sesame Street here. Fucked up street. Welcome to Fucked Up
Welcome
Street.
to Fucked Up Street, where we drink whiskey and talk about death. Peach Xanax.
Do you
think
it's interested by these Reddit names?
Do you think it's peach flavored Xanax?
Or you like put the Xanax into a peach?
And then it's like a surprise bite.
Yeah. Surprise!
Xanax!
I don't know, I feel like that's when you try to give a dog medication or something, you put like the cheese around the pill and give it to the dog.
Is that what people do to other people to trick them into taking Xanax?
Maybe.
Carrie, you look a little nervous. Have this peach.
I was gonna offer you one. I got some peaches over here.
Then
They definitely do not have Xanax in them.
Totally clean from any drugs.
I feel like that would be a good way to take your Xanax though, right?
Story's not the right word because it's the case.
Case. Is that the word?
Yes. Probably, right?
Yeah, story sounds like fucking bedtime.
Yeah.
Come,
all
children,
right.
sit.
Now that you've
Sit
brushed
around.
your teeth and gotten in your PJs, let's talk about murder.
I feel like you would do that with your kids or something.
I mean, it might happen.
Come, children.
Come, children.
Learn how to topple the patriarchy around the campfire.
They're like, Mom, stop lighting fires in our bedroom.
Burn it all.
So today we're going to talk about the case of Kristin Smart, who in 1996 on Memorial Day weekend went to a college party, normal 19-year-old drinking, having fun, just like everybody else at the party, and after that night she was never seen again. She left the party with 2 people who were walking her home named Cheryl and Tim, and a third person, Paul Flores, joined their walk home and said he would help get her home safely. So they were walking down the street. Tim got to his car. He parted ways with them. Cheryl got to her dorm. She parted ways. It was only Paul and Kristin left. He had told police that he got to his dorm and said goodbye to Kristin because she said she would finish, walk herself the rest of the way home, which was, I guess, close to his dorm. And then he became the last person to ever see her alive. The first fucked up thing in this is that campus police kind of like got it started off the wrong way, like in the worst way possible. They presumed she was just going on vacation even though she left all her stuff at her dorm. So they didn't report it immediately to local police enforcement, which is super unfortunate because we all know the first 24 hours is like the most important part for a missing person. So now let's talk a little bit about Paul Flores, the last person to have seen her alive.
Motherfucking Paul.
Motherfucking Paul. You will say that approximately 375,000 times during this episode. Motherfucking Paul.
I've already said it once, so let's
So
keep count.
Keep count. Let's just list off all the insane pieces of evidence that point directly at Paul. Not only was he the last person to see her alive, but a little while after she went missing, a neighbor found an earring in the driveway of his mother's home. And that one extremely resembled one of Kristin's favorite earrings. There was also a brown smudge on it, which is presumably blood, but we don't know because while it was in evidence, it went missing. So before they were ever able to test it, this huge key piece of evidence that was found on his property went missing. Another weird thing is when he was brought in by police, he had a black eye. He first told them that he got it playing basketball, and then police, of course, went and talked to his, the people he played basketball with, and they were like, he showed up already with that black eye. So he showed up to the basketball game with the black eye already. So then police called him out on it, and then he was like, quote, "I don't know how I got the black eye. I just woke up with it."
Okay, as one does.
As one does when you wake up. He later told them that he was embarrassed, he lied because he got it, he accidentally hit himself in the face while he was fixing a car. So
he's already changed the story
at least 3 times.
Yeah, it's already creepy enough.
Another thing is that police use cadaver dogs to pick up the scent of Kristin, and they led straight to Paul's dorm. And when they got into Paul's dorm, they specifically led to a corner of his mattress where they picked up Kristin's scent. We know that Kristin didn't go home because her roommate was at their dorm and said Kristin never showed up. And Paul's roommate was away for the weekend, so he had the dorm room to himself. The weird thing is that I couldn't find anything else aside from the cadaver dogs finding the scent on his mattress, and I couldn't find anything else after that. What?
Isn't that incriminating enough, right?
I mean, I would think so.
You'd think so.
Apparently, this is not the first time Paul's been a super creep, because a couple months before Kristin went missing, another student called the cops on him after he climbed the trellis to her dorm room, and he refused to leave after she asked him to. He got his license taken away a couple months before her going missing because he was drinking and driving, and he got caught drunk. He also was arrested 3 times after she went missing for drinking and driving. A lot of people described him as annoying, and they all said that he would actually hit on their girlfriends in front of them. According to his parents, he had no friends in high school, and in college, some women nicknamed him Chester the Molester. This is all before
What happened?
Kristin went missing. So when police interviewed the roommate said that Paul actually joked around about Kristin being at home with Paul's parents, which is kind of weird, but it's even more weird when you find out that after Kristin went missing, his parents randomly filled part of their backyard with cement, which is one of the huge things which we'll talk about later, of where Kristin might be. Prior to Kristin going missing, he has had multiple sexual assault allegations. Many women, including female cousins of Paul's, had said that that he had sexually assaulted them, and there was one woman who accused him of raping her in 1994 when she was 15 years old, and then him and a friend dumped her on her parents' porch and knocked on the door before running away.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So, I mean, okay, so both the police and the FBI continue to investigate it, and since 2011, there has been 140 new pieces of evidence. And in 2016, the police had new leads that they were looking into. They dug up a piece of evidence near her dorm and said that it could take at least a couple months to analyze. And then in 2020, they said that evidence is still being analyzed and investigated today. Fast forward to the beginning of this year, 2020, FBI is still investigating. They bring in 2 trucks into evidence, and guess who they belong to? Motherfucking Paul. Pretty much Paul's relatives. 2 trucks that belong to Paul's relatives. A couple weeks ago, in February of 2020, there was actually a search warrant issued for, quote, specific items of evidence from 4 locations, including Paul's parents' home in San Luis Obispo and Paul's home in Los Angeles. And then he was actually detained briefly on February 5th, but he was released the same day.
Motherfucking Reddit.
All right, Reddit. So, I mean, every single theory is pretty much not about who did it. It's more about, like, what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
You know? Most people believe that if he didn't actually kill her, he knows what happened.
Yeah.
There was a wonderfully written LA Times article that, like, in 2006 that, you know, painted a picture of everything that happened. Proza 123 brings up the theory that the LA Times article talked about was that, you know, Paul took advantage of her, and then at some point she died after breathing in her own vomit, and he panicked and disposed of the body.
Where would that have happened, though, right?
In his dorm, they're thinking.
Because people claimed to have seen them go into his
No, nobody's
dorm?
seen...
Or, okay.
Nobody's seen that, but since the cadaver dogs pointed to the fact that, like, she was in his dorm,
Okay.
or
That
smell the scent that she was there, and the fact that she never went home. The person also just talked about how Kristin is 6'1", you know, young, healthy girl. Paul is smaller than she is, and this person claims that they think that he couldn't overpower her without her fighting back more, giving him something worse than a black eye. But Kitty Cat B comes in, and
you make it sound like it's a sports game.
Kitty
Cat B comes in.
Kitty Cat B comes in and shuts his theory down because she said, that's a good theory, but I wouldn't discount him overpowering her so easily. I'm not a small girl, but when I was sexually assaulted by a drunk man who was over 65 years old and smaller than me, I was barely able to fight him off. And I think that's very important to mention. We don't know what happened in this story, but in a lot of cases, we don't know what's going on. Kristin was drunk, and we don't know her reaction if she was being sexually assaulted. Just because she didn't necessarily fight back, if that's the case, doesn't mean she wasn't being sexually assaulted.
That's true. Well, yeah, especially under circumstances of, like, somebody's been drinking.
Been drinking.
It's much more easier for someone to try to take advantage of them.
Yeah.
You know?
Sturgill Skywalker. Skywalker.
Sturgill Skywalker.
Sturgill Skywalker discussed how they believe that the law enforcement is actually hiding something. I have no idea what, but nobody there understands what's going on, especially because they refuse to communicate with anyone. They dug up a spot at Cal Poly in 2016, had press conferences, and have never said if/what they found. Which I thought was an interesting theory because I am baffled at the fact that he has not been arrested. Like, I'm no lawyer or professional person,
but I mean,
like...
they can, like, arrest people on less, right? Like, I mean,
That's
if he was the
what I
last
would
person
think.
seen with her, he would be, like, the main person of interest in this whole case. And then, not to mention, there's DNA evidence of her having been in his dorm.
Yeah, and
that's enough to
I would think
get
so.
somebody, right?
And motherfucking Paul is not a smart person. Like, I mean, he's a dumbass, but also, like, his GPA was 0.6. Like, he constantly failed. Like, he is not an intelligent person. And clearly, like, this doesn't seem like it's a premeditated account.
Yeah.
You know, like, it...
They would have... But I guess that also means they would have found something, which it makes clear that they probably
That's what I
did,
mean.
but then...
That's what I mean. Like, how can this stupid person get away with murder? That's my question. You think about that.
Stupid people getting away with murder, right?
Isn't that a show? User Remtemtemington. They started a thread about Kristin Smart. Great thread, informative, interesting, great conversation. They said most community members believe his parents covered up the evidence of the murder. Going back to the fact that motherfucking Paul is not a smart person.
Maybe he had called his parents and let them know what had happened.
Yeah, a lot of people think that he called his father, panicked, and his father came and helped him dispose of it. Apparently his parents, like, really strange. Some people said that they had, like, an in with local authority, which is why some people believe that the cops are, like, not necessarily covering it up, but haven't really found anything. I don't know if that's true because the FBI is involved. And but the whole cement thing where they, like, poured cement in the backyard shortly after she went missing. Allegedly, the mom yelled at a neighbor saying, like, don't look in our property. Like, something along those lines.
Yeah.
Like, stay off our property, like, whatever.
Not discounting that, but, like, I can only say from my expert knowledge in different crime shows, there's only so much you can trust in hearsay and
Of course, yeah.
Of course. But, like, the physical timing of that is weird enough.
Yeah.
Like, without neighbors being like, well, I was that, he was weird.
Yeah.
Like,
That weirdo.
That weirdo.
What? Another interesting thing is that apparently there was a large window in Paul's room, and that window opened up to a driveway. And at the end of the driveway, do you know what was there? A dumpster. The last time Kristin was seen was at around 2 a.m. Friday night. Trash pickup was 7:30 a.m. Saturday morning. Some people are saying that one of the ways that he could have disposed the body from the room was taking her out through the window and throwing her in the dumpster, which was a few hours later picked up and brought.
But how searched, like, if it's going to a landfill somewhere, like, how easy would it be to dispose of a body that way? Like, it just wouldn't seem... Yeah.
I think it could be fairly easy, you know, if
it's going to a landfill or something?
Yeah, because if you think about it, like, the dogs lose the scent in the dorm room. I mean, maybe the dogs lose the scent at the bed. Maybe he took the sheets, you know, she died on the bed. He took the sheets, wrapped her up in the sheets, put her through the window. That's why they lost the scent there. I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm just going off on this theory.
You are after 2 glasses of whiskey.
I become the most experty expert.
Of all time.
Of all time. Overall, my thoughts on this case is obviously the mystery isn't who did it, because everything points to Paul, but the mystery is how the fuck did he get away with it?
I like how you said, how the fuck did this dumbass get away with it? You even put in parentheses 0.6 GPA.
He's not smart. Really. Hopefully the FBI already knows, and, you know, they just can pull the trigger. Just a poor choice.
Poor analogy.
Poor analogy. But hopefully, you know, this will be put to rest for her family, for her.
Motherfucking Paul will be put to rest. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Cheers to weird.